So this is one of the rare times they've actually put out a full developer brief before the patch notes. Patch notes should be out in a little bit. So I wanted to go ahead and cover the specific Warzone update coming for Season 1. You guys said you were most interested in Warzone, so I guess that's what I'm going to cover. But I'm also pretty interested in a lot of the stuff they have in Season 1.
Haven's Hollow is our new Resurgence map featuring 48 to 52 players based on squad size and set in the Eastern Appalachian region of the...
I think it is unfortunate that Warzone is primarily become a resurgence mode. Obviously Verdansk came back and they left it lackluster. There's going to be some changes in there.
United States. We really wanted to lean into natural landscapes, and that's where Haven's Hollow was born. Our two smallest maps are Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep, and we wanted this map to be squarely in the middle. The engagement is higher because players rotate through.
So that's kind of important to keep in mind. Rebirth Island, small. Fortune's Keep, kind of more medium, and then this one will be more in the middle of those two. So it'll feel a little bit bigger than one and then smaller than the other.
Smaller map. We have 9 major POIs on Haven's Hollow. The majority of the map that's built from the ground up brand new. The Research Center, the Coal Depot, the Lumber Mill, the Riverboat, the Barn, the Pond, the Mansion and Main Street, and our train station. We've added cover, we've reduced clutter, we've changed some of the pathing lanes.
That's one thing they changed a bit from Next is removal of a lot of the clutter. I don't know why they even add clutter to the map. Just keep it simple. It probably takes a lot of effort to even add clutter. So like why?
We've made sure to add zip lines where they made sense, all to keep the frenetic, fast-paced, quick movement that we love to see in these maps present for players. The center of the map wasn't engaging as strongly as we wanted it to. And since it's a major place that you're going to be moving through, we started looking at why. So fresh coat of paint, larger presence on ground and on infill, and fix some of the holes that we saw, and hence Homestead is now called Barn. The team's very happy with it. Also, as we were tuning the circle timing enclosures and spaces, we wanted to make sure that we ran hundreds and hundreds of simulations so that we could make sure that where the circles were closing in based on our parameters, it always had a good amount of loot, a good amount of placement. If High Moon has done a Resurgence map, it has secrets somewhere to be found. And I'd love for players to explore every aspect of this map just to see what might be lurking in the shadows.
Fortune Keep had by far the most Easter eggs, but Rebirth Island had quite a bit as well. So many hidden ones. Inevitably, people just ended up landing up on how to get specialist and a free loadout and stuff like that, but wonder what they're going to cook.
People drop in and have a good time. I'm excited for them to uncover the secrets that are lying in wait for them there, and I'm excited to see exactly how the barn performs as people move through that space.
So we have 2 new POIs coming to Verdansk. We have the signal station, which is going to be a little bit south of the military base. And so this is going to provide new sight lines to be great sniper play, good medium range play as well. Right off the bat for Season 1, it will be a hot drop location, so there will be better loot. And there's also a lot of really interesting outplay potential in the layout of that POI. We also brought back Factory. So this was first introduced back when we had Verdansk 84, and this was a very big fan favorite, but what we wanted to do is really give it a new visual look. It's intended to kind of paint a picture of, hey, remember we blew up the stadium and there's some missiles being built there and maybe these things are connected. We're excited for players to experience something new and something remembered.
We get to the good part.
We're committing to more meta changes throughout the seasons.
What's funny is one of my biggest feedbacks for the past 3.5 years, basically since Warzone 2 happened and we had the 100-day RPK meta, we had all these other metas that lasted entirely too long and very infrequent changes. I know that there's still random comments saying, oh, well, I don't have time to level up guns and all that. Well, it's just because they've been doing it bad for 3 or 4 years. Like, duh. Yeah, obviously the current system doesn't work, but now they're going to lock in and they're going to have a lot more opportunity to change stuff. Prior to this year, basically, Raven has never been able to change the weapons the way they wanted. But now they are. So hopefully they follow through with this until we actually see it in the update, the floor loot, the changes. This is one of the most important parts, in my opinion, to making the game stay fresh, because it does get boring using the same 2 weapons for 3 months, 4 months at a time.
More than we ever have before. We're also going back to the lootable perk system to encourage players to continue to loot during the match and to continue to experiment with perks they haven't even seen before. Early in the year, we're excited to introduce a new feature called win streaks. Players can accumulate enough wins, they're going to be rewarded with a very hard and prestigious camo.
So for LTMs, we are
One thing we talked about before, obviously they had the nuke thing that was going on before. Now that's gone. But at least with the win streak thing, hopefully it's attainable. Like, for people if they actually want to grind it. And there may be different ones for Verdansk than there are for Rebirth or Resurgence.
We're doing something different. We're putting a focus on weekend LTMs to have these content opportunities for players. We have Amped Health, which is for Battle Royale. We have Ultra Fast Resurgence, and then we have Buybacks, and we have High Octane. Buybacks has been a popular mode that we've brought back many times, so we're excited to bring that back to players. Amped Health is going to have double the player health for increased TTK and engagements, as well as faster health regen. Our philosophy for weekend LTMs this year has been to provide refreshing experiences for players while proving as a testing grounds to gather feedback on experimental features that we're interested in. So High Octane is a faster paced battle royale match where matches will last 10 to 15 minutes. The players start with their
They're going to make it like Resurgence times.
loadouts. They come back through buybacks, so no gulags, and they are able to pull out a buy station at any point, any time in the match.
And we're just getting started.
That's crazy.
This year, we'll experience new maps, modes, weekend LTMs, movement mechanics, frequent meta updates, perk changes, and much, much more.
Each week, you will get access to a variety of challenges in
Okay, and so this is going to be for the whole game, right?
all the modes, but only completing 6 of them from any modes will unlock you the weekly reward, which will be a weapon, attachment, score streak, or maybe another gameplay item.
There's a new loadout item you can unlock only by engaging with the weekly challenge system. In week 1, it's the ballistic knife returning. Week 2, we have an attachment that lets you run shotguns akimbo style. And week
More
3,
content.
the Deadeye drone, a new score streak weapon.
That one's
for
going to be
multiplayer.
interesting in
You'll
multi.
also be able to unlock up to 2 camos. Completing those weeks is going to give you access to the camo.
Challenge tracking also makes its way into Warzone with Season 1, so you're going to be able to track calling cards and camos in-game.
I think I'm going to be going for that one, especially if casuals in the game. That makes it so much easier just to go in, especially for some of the bad guns.
As well as in the lobby. We took a hard look at the Battle Pass with Black Ops 7 with the goal of setting out to make a more player-friendly Battle Pass. And one of the ways you're going to have more control over your progression is the addition of Battle Pass tokens in the daily challenge system. And we want more players to get further in the Battle Pass, earn all those awesome Battle Pass rewards. Season 1 and beyond, we're going to have impactful events with awesome rewards to chase. We have camos in our events, animated camos, blue.
One of the other things that I think they glossed over that they mentioned in their blog about the Battle Pass is that you're going to gain faster Battle Pass tiers in the first levels so that you can actually unlock, if you're a free-to-play only, like you don't buy the Battle Pass at all or any of that stuff, but you still want the weapons, now it should be faster to get those. And then as soon as you get the weapons, essentially, it should slow down as the higher tier. So they kind of front-loaded the time to make it so that you get more rewards faster in the beginning in less time.
Prints, skins, and more. Our Season 1 events have support for all 4 modes, so you're going to be able to progress Season 1 events playing co-op campaign, just like our other connected global systems. Starting with Astra Malorum, you can expect all new round-based zombie maps to include a calling card challenge set, with an animated mastery card for completing the set. And you may have some Dark Ops cards to find on each new map too.
Interesting.
We want to deliver compelling content.
So that's it for their dev part that we're going to cover. And then I know there's a bunch of weapons in the Battle Pass and stuff like that, but I guess we got to wait till the patch notes. So we got the patch notes, Ricochet anti-cheat. Still, I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. For Season 1, rolling out stronger detection. I guess we'll have to just see what ends up happening. They've said this enough times where I don't believe it. Been better in Black Ops 7 for sure, but we will see. So rewards, email verification. Players who verify their email account to strengthen their account security will unlock the following. You get a bunch of double XP. There's going to be a rally point week 2. Take a personal mission unlocked over the course of the event. Unlock rewards for yourself while also contributing to the community mission alongside the globe. I haven't really heard much about this one, but this is how you're going to be able to get the crossbow. Some other stuff just for participation, a certain amount. And I wonder if this is going to be similar to the calling card event that we just had in multiplayer for anyone who had Black Ops 7. Battle Pass, there it is. Okay, new map, Haven's Hollow. We saw a little bit of the breakdown of the stuff within that video. So we can kind of skim some of this stuff. That's one of the reasons why I included the video portion, because they do talk about a lot of these different things. This one, I hope it plays well. It played well enough at Call of Duty Next. But if you guys were watching, we only played like 2 matches, and that was a disservice to the game. But we'll go ahead and see kind of what this new version's like. I still have a feeling that people are going to really just want Rebirth Island, which gets an update in Season 2 with all the snow and stuff like that. But that's down the pipeline. We'll see kind of what happens with the meta changes and some of the other systems to simplify the movements, getting rid of attack, sprint, like a lot of the other moment-to-moment stuff that you feel every second of every match, and not, you know, a mode that maybe they remove like Area 99 if it's not as popular, right? And then Verdansk, we get the 2 new POIs, and they get this other thing where you're able to get a signal station at the POI where it's going to mark where the hot zones on the map are. So it's like a semi-permanent UAV where it's not going to highlight specific targets, but it'll highlight certain zones. Like you see this one lighting up red, where the other one's more yellow, and then there's an orange square over here. So that's where the hot spots would be if you're going to be kill hunting. But I don't know how effective that's going to be or what the Easter egg is going to entail. But I'm sure people will do it, maybe get a little bit of rewards, and then maybe never do it, depending on how interesting it is. We get the POIs brought in, that one, as well as Factory, brought back right next to Superstore. I like this POI. We didn't get to use it very long before we got Caldera. We'll see kind of where it goes from here. Hopefully they do a lot more. I feel like the game, they finally made some strides in the right areas. Took them long enough. I get it if you're not interested as well, because I know there's people who watch the video just kind of finding out, hey, you know what? You know, I don't really have much interest in COD, but I want to see kind of what JGOD has to say about it. That's cool. If it's not for you and you're not really interested in it, you might want to wait around till the sentiment has changed and people really kind of identify what these things are. I think they are doing a bunch of this to change the sentiment, and that will improve the sentiment. But how COD treats their fan base, I think the sentiment is not going to be something that's going to do a 180 and all of a sudden fix itself. So these need to be steps that need to be done over weeks, months, and potentially even years of progress in the right areas. And I understand there's plenty to play. If you're enjoying Battlefield, Ark Raiders, or one of the other 100 games that came out this year, enjoy those. They're fun. If you want to wait for the sentiment to turn until it's all GGs on the Warzone side, that's cool. But for a lot of us, we're going to play Warzone. We like Warzone. And the changes they're doing, I've been waiting for them for 3.5 years. It'd be moronic for me to not play now that we know how many things are actually changing that I've been asking for, and essentially want to return to Warzone 1 status that are happening now. So we get some weekend-only LTMs. This is something they're doing a little bit different. Instead of just keeping an LTM in play weekly, daily, all the way around the whole season, we're going to get some things, and they're actually planning these out. So we'll get buyback on the first weekend. We're going to get amped Battle Royale, and then 3 and 4 will be no limited time during this holiday break. I'm guessing that's around Christmas, New Year's time, and then we're going to get the ultra fast resurgence in week 5, which will be there as well. So playlist, open matchmaking. This is going to be also something a little bit different, but also a little bit controversial, especially for a lot of people who played the beta. There's been this sentiment that people feel like they're getting rug pulled. I played the beta, and I also played the full launch of the game now. And it really is very mode specific. I think what sucked is during the beta, there was like 2 playlists. So 100% of the players were within 2 playlists. But now that the full game's out, we got like 40 playlists with LTMs and hardcore and regular core and various playlists. Then we get the featured 24/7. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer to matchmake, but it is what it is. I have felt that it is less, still not quite like pre-2019, but thank God it's not like 2019 through through Black Ops 6, because that stuff was so bad. It's better. I hopefully they continue to tune it and make adjustments based off the amount of playlists so that it still has that feel of more high matches and lows versus it's kind of like a little bit more medium, I guess, at the moment. So there's the kind of the schedule. They usually do an image of this, but they're going to roll it out. So Battle Royale will have Verdansk, and we're going to have all the modes. Thankfully, Trios is back because Ranked is not currently there at launch. Casual will be there for quads only. And then for Resurgence, we're going to have both of the modes and all of the sizes in terms of the maps. And then for Resurgence Casuals, Haven Hollow, that where you're going to do your camo grind if you're going for that. And then the LTMs will be there as well. So straightforward there. Aim assist. This is going to be the one, if you've been playing Black Ops 7, it's definitely an adjustment. It definitely did get nerfed. And no matter how much they almost nerf it, it's still going to have those moments where it is incredibly powerful, and that is no different. Aim assist will be definitely noticeable, and it'll be interesting to see how that will go, because I think this is one of those changes that it's done kind of enough at the close range, where some of the close range TTKs, theoretical, a lot of times you can get really close to the theoretical because you wouldn't miss before. Now there's potential to miss with certain movement and just the way that the aim is going to be. It's not doing as much of the work. This will be incredibly interesting to watch to see how they tune it, specifically for Warzone, if need be, based off the TTK being much longer, often double in Warzone than it is in multiplayer because of the 3 plates. For movement, our goal of the chapter is to make traversal feel smoother, more responsive, and more natural as you flow through the map. Sprinting, remove the tactical sprint unless you run the perk, and then increase base sprint speed, so you should be faster. I think some movement demons will probably want sprinter perk, but I think for the vast majority, that would be a waste of a perk. And we'll kind of go through that and see kind of how the mobility goes with that. I switched mine to first person so it doesn't do this jank animation, but to each their own. I think with combining that with the Mountaineer perk, I guess it makes it so you can fall from much higher without having that stun effect, but your gun won't be up immediately. So I think that that's their way to balance it. I think that was one of the big problems that they probably dealt with when it came to Mountaineer, that if you fell off somewhere, you would be able to have gun up immediately and get shots on target without a penalty. And I think this is like that balancing act where if you do roll, you may be a little bit harder target to hit, but your gun's not going to be able to just land on someone and shoot them immediately. So I think that's more of a balance thing. Experimental mechanics. We've enabled both wall jump and a grapple hook in the LTMs. So if you want to see what that's all about, I think this is going to be like a test to really feel what it's going to be like once Blackout drops, because I would imagine Blackout's going to have the wall jump, the grapple hook, and maybe the glider or something like that. But they'll be able to tune in and fine tune it for that. Loadouts, obviously, we've done away with a lot of the wildcard stuff. Overkill's default, which is kind of like we got away from that with Warzone 1. It wasn't default. You had to equip the perk. And then we went into the other system where it was default, and then they kind of reverted it because of feedback, I guess. So they're kind of yo-yoed this one. I think the reality with the overkill, it's really split for a lot of people on whether or not it's one of those things that you should get or shouldn't get. And they've inevitably landed on, hey, it's good for the game. We'll have to wait and see if it does mesh well. All the attachments are capped at 5. No more 8 attachment builds, which me, I wish it was 5 attachments plus a free optic, so we'd get 6. And this is something I think inevitably they will get to. I hope they do. But 5 attachments, just way more streamlined. It was so, for me, like I didn't feel the value was beyond having 6 attachments. So a lot of times people are like, what's the 8 attachment build? Realistically, you just need 1 extra attachment for bullet velocity, and that's good enough. Equipment options, they've modified that quite a bit. We'll have to kind of see how that plays around. I know they added some rock, paper, scissors elements, they're calling them, where a stim shot can counter a flash or concussion. So there's extra utility with the stim shot. If there's smokes, you can throw a Molotov on it. It'll fizzle it out. So there are some different things you can do. And it's going to require a little bit more thought, I guess, in what you choose, because you'll be able to counter stuff like the smokes in this example. Some different lethals, tacticals that we'll be accustomed to. I think they've kind of just streamlined it so each one has its own utility. But as we've seen with the games and video games as a whole, in today's day and age, everything kind of narrows to certain metas. So I wouldn't expect anything crazy from that. I think there will be certain things for if you're a leaderboard win grinder, or you just like to go for wins as a whole and only wins, you don't care if you get 3 kills or 22, in a match. You just want the win. There will be certain metas for that. If you're going to go a little bit more aggressive and you only care about kills, there's going to probably be a meta for that. Probably high kill wins will be a certain meta. Rebirth or Resurgence will have its own meta versus big map. And then obviously ranked will have its own things too. So I think those things will naturally fall in line because gaming is so big now. People will optimize, and sometimes it optimizes the fun out of games. But it's really up to you, the gamer, to figure out how you want to play the game and what best suits your play style, right? So field upgrades, we're going to have a bunch of those. I won't go too much into those types of things because there is a lot of content that is adjusting and changing. We do have perk changes. Lootable perks have been added to the Battle Royale to expand it in-match progress and create more dynamic power spikes throughout the match. So there's dedicated ways to get certain ones. So contract rewards and then legendary supply drops. So there's going to be 8 total, 4 there and 4 there. And then Resurgence will have its own set of different ones that you'll just be able to get throughout. Perk categories, they've gone through and adjusted a ton of them. We'll probably do a testing video breaking down each of the individual ones and kind of where they line up. Luckily, they've given us a ton of information, so we can find out a bunch from that. But there are certain things that maybe we will need to test to actually show the effects and demonstrate those for each of these individual ones to see how impactful or helpful they are for the different perks. So pretty good. I think they've made some significant changes with a lot of these, and they've made some way more powerful. So it'll be one of those things again where depending on your play style and since we have direct methods to get certain perks on the floor loot, you might not pick which one up. You might not put a loadout together that will have one of the ones that you can loot. So you can end up with 5, 6, 7 perks or however many you're going to be able to find in a match through contracts or through looting. Loot and economy. So this is one of those ones that we've talked about even going back to Caldera, how sometimes the floor loots felt pretty stale. I think that first year and a half or year and 8 months of Warzone 1 of Verdansk and Verdansk 84, we had some of the best floor loots. There was so much variety in meta. I remember actually being able to pick up some of those guns, use those for quite a bit until you got your loadout still. Obviously, the loadout is still going to be the most powerful weapon choice. But in those instances, there were so many instances where you could, hey, I'm going to pick up the foul and I'm going to use this at Superstore and then we're going to rotate over to PD and then we're going to get our loadout. And you felt comfortable with certain guns and it felt like there was distinct floor loot metas that would shift pretty regularly. And there was a little bit more of that in the Gulag then too. But for whatever reason, whatever happened in Caldera, and then inevitably the transition to MW2, which really gave Raven a lot of pushback. I think it was studio versus studio, a lot of conflicts with that. But either way, now Raven has some autonomy to actually just say, I want to do what the hell I want to do. And then they'll do it. So no more passing the buck. The buck stops with them, it sounds like. And now it's their job to either own it and make it happen or they're really the problem, right? So it's kind of one of those things. So we're going to have adjustments to the buy stations. Loadouts look like they'll be 6K for solos and then 10K for everything else, which is good. Inventory, Resurgence. Oh, basically we're just seeing the same thing on Resurgence. Verdansk will have its buy stations, cool. Updated buy stations locations, and then buyback speed, quality of life. Further improvement, how quickly eliminated teammates become available for the buy station after losing a gulag. Good stuff. I always felt like it was pretty quick, but quicker's better in that instance. Contract spawn system. Additionally, contracts now reveal in later circles more consistently. We found that late game contract availability was still lower than it needed to be. Yeah, search and destroy contract has been removed. Ooh, and they put the note there. I literally told them, I said, why the hell are we adding this to the full game when I don't see anybody using these, wanting to use these? These contracts are complete garbage. Unless people are using them at a high rate, let us know. And they're telling us low adoption rates towards the end of the previous chapter led us to a removal for now, making room for commonly competed contracts in the pool. W. Public events. So updated the list of public events. Loadout drop, which is normal on zone 2 and 5. And then you have a bunch of other ones that can happen on the other zones. So the weapon stats of basically all the weapons within Warzone will be different than Black Ops 7 now. Obviously, some might make sense just to copy and paste over, but they should be completely different. So expands medium damage range, a new Warzone specific stat that improves effectiveness deeper into the mid-range fights. Control barrel, this is one that it doesn't even exist in multiplayer. They've modified that, so this is more in line with like the longest barrel that we used to use in Warzone 1. That was kind of like a catch-all in MW 2019, where it'd be longest barrel, gave you bullet velocity, range, recoil control, all these things that were super juiced for long range, but it made your aim down sight slower. All right, cool. That's probably kind of the effects it'll have there. Expanded attachment functionality. Suppressors now can provide visual reduction in addition to keeping players off the radar. Mobility-focused stocks now improve handling alongside movement benefits. Heavier stocks further emphasize recoil stabilization for maximum controlled focus builds. So this is kind of like just more attachments are going to do different stuff. So if you're coming from Black Ops 7 and you think, oh, this is my build, you might want to just go in and reevaluate some of the attachments, even though a lot of them will probably have very similar functionality. Shotgun slugs for Black Ops 7. Pump action shotgun slugs can now secure a one-shot headshot within the maximum damage range, offering a high-risk, high-reward option, which could be like 15 or 20 meters or something like that, depends on the gun. Default loadouts will now regularly be updated. So this is one of the ones that this got called out last year as well. They put in the default loadouts and then basically changed them once, and they were kind of always mediocre. This is going to be one where they ran out of options. They got to do it right now. Basically what's happening now is like, enough's enough. Weapon building sharing. This is cool. If you're on PC, these are a lot easier to copy than just type. If you're on console, a lot of times it's just easier to copy the build. Legacy weapons will, from basically all the other titles, are going to be thrown into a separate category called Legacy. I guess it's just talking about the weapons that are being added, which we're aware of. These are basically all the weapons from Black Ops 7 being carried over to Warzone, which we're aware of if you've played any Black Ops 7 or watched anything. Vehicles, we get the new Polaris, another sponsorship, right? And then they're going to get these weekly challenges for each of the modes. Co-op campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone. And then UI UX, they're updating a ton of that stuff. Front-end visual improvements, play tab, a bunch of quality of life. Raven's really been generally good at quality of life stuff, even in the darker times for Warzone. Obviously, we'll have to kind of see what's going to happen with the game. I did not plan to cover Warzone so soon. I put out a video saying basically I was done with Warzone. People will still comment probably on this video because they don't actually watch the videos. They're hate watchers. So you can correct them if you want. But basically, enough people wanted the Warzone content. The Warzone content appears to be good. There is a lot of fatigue, though. I get it. I did a full video talking about that and a little bit of the issues with Call of Duty as a whole, the franchise and things they've done over the past decade that have led to these things, particularly since 2019, have led to a lot of these issues. And there's competition. End of the day, just play what you enjoy. I personally like multiplayer, I like zombies, and I like Warzone. If people are mostly interested in Warzone, I guess I'm going to cover Warzone. Luckily, it worked out this way. If Warzone was trash and I had no interest in Warzone, I basically wouldn't even be doing this video. I'd be covering the zombies and the multiplayer for today. But most of you guys are interested in Warzone, so that's probably what I'll cover. And we'll kind of see what happens. Lots of changes. I think it's still lacking in the content department because I think the Haven's Hollow isn't necessarily enough of a map thing, but I think the other parts are just those stepping stones. If you're out fatigued, uncaught, that's okay. We'll see you when you're not. Either way, appreciate all the support on the content, whether you're just here to say hi or watch the video. See you on the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.